financing to help get you assets and you're not just becoming a consumer, you start to recognize that in the long term, and that long term is not going to take long. When I'm talking long term, it could be like 3 to 5 years. In 3 to 5 years, you can be seeing stuff like, wait a minute, okay, I borrowed this and I bought this asset, and now this asset is generating enough that I'm taking care of the debt, and now all of a sudden I'm having a profit. Now, what am I doing with that? Am I spending that being a consumer? No, I'm taking some of those profits and I'm going to find another stream. And then you start to recognize some of those stories like the Walt Disneys or the Colonel Sanders, where you start to recognize, wait a minute, these people started becoming successful at what age? It wasn't their 20s, it wasn't their 30s. He said, oh my God, I'm this old, so I can't. Who told you? What type of operating system that you walking in that you are killing your own identity? Don't do it. Please don't do that to yourself. As we're about to move on to the next slide. Language doesn't just describe reality, it creates it. Ms. Nicole, can you please read Declare?
Declare, speech acts produce new realities.
What are you speaking? Your words have power. I've said this to other people in other dispensations. There are times you are cursing yourself and don't even realize it. People say, Dr. Clarke, what are you talking about you cursing? I ain't cursing. You know, I only got $2 in my pocket. You just cursed yourself. Cursing, that speech act is going to produce that respective reality to say, wait a minute, let me look. Whoa, pause. Let's all pause here. Your speech act is creating the reality. And if you keep creating speech acts that are going to create limiting realities, then those realities are going to be new, but they're going to still be limiting. Don't just say, oh, I'm going into another day and I'm going to say all these things like the onlys and I'm going to try and then what you get? You get exactly what you articulated. Because what you articulated is what's within your identity, what's within you. You're out picturing. You are shaping your world. We all shape worlds. And I'm not talking about planet Earth, but we all shape the world that we navigate in. Our speech, our articulation, our thoughts are readily important. Because those declarations move to the next one, which I will read. Believe. The mind encodes declarations as truth. That's why when we say, as I started this whole presentation, I am or I am not, if the mind encodes declarations as truth, if you start affirming a lot of stuff that is detrimental, playing small, playing minute, we only can go but so far, the man is against me, and we can go on and on and on with all those declarations. As I stated earlier, all those false narratives that we start manifesting as the truth because the mind doesn't know any better. Don't blame the mind. My God, my mind is just so. Whoa, and whoa. You articulated that based upon your conditioning. And as Dr. Cheryl alluded to, maybe you're still holding on to a bunch of stuff from the past, which keeps unfurling on your darn current. And now all of a sudden, you are stunting your own future from being created because your mind keeps encoding this stuff because you keep making it as a declaration. It's a false narrative. Doesn't work for you. But you keep saying it. That's just what we do. No, and no. That's rude and disrespectful to yourself. Not even to someone outside of you. We're talking about all this inward work. When we're talking about being your I aming or I amness, you're connecting yourself to the source. And I know I don't serve something that's limiting because it wouldn't be ever expansive. It wouldn't be ever developing. It wouldn't be ever still growing As they say, the universe is still in expansion mode. So that means the creation story has not ended. So that's the type of source I came from. Why am I playing myself saying some of these words that keep limiting myself and playing myself to be small? That means I'm choosing now those things. But the ability of choice is that you have the ability to choose another way, if you so choose. And I'll also read manifest. Manifest, identity aligned, results follow. So how are you manifesting? Are you declaring? Your declarations will lead because it's still an aspect of your mindset and what's within you. So now we're dealing with your belief. After you make declarations, you start saying things out there in the marketplace. You got to keep your word. That's another reason why. A lot of times when belief becomes a little bit suspect is because you made some declarations that you didn't believe yourself enough to fulfill and complete. And that makes it even worse because that means it's not that the declaration was bad. It's not even the idea or the concept wouldn't work. Did you believe in it? You expect other people to believe in it, but you don't. And then you definitely not aligned. So now we can't move to manifestation because you're not aligned with it. That's why they say at times talk can be cheap. A talk can be very hollow if we don't want to use the word, desire not to use the word cheap. It can be very hollow. So speech act theory. Certain declarations produce new realities. You're hired. The deal is approved. We are launching. Powerful. Because those are declarations that produce something. It's probably even an inflection in your body. Probably certain sensory parts of your body starts to get amplified when they hear certain things like that. Your most important declaration, the most important declaration you make each day is the one you make about yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. What's the declaration that you're speaking about you? Oh, I have a bad money script. That means that is what you're declaring. That is what you're going to roll through. And if that's what you're going to roll through, the script is only going to be the script until you make the declaration within yourself says, wait a minute, I am changing it. I am not trapped. The last box. Every I am not becomes an instruction your mind begins working tirelessly to prove. That's why I said you're cursing yourself. Your own mind. If you keep speaking all those limiting stuff, after a while, your mind says, you know what? This body that I'm inhabiting, this person that I'm rocking out with, and this is what I've been assigned to be in this respective temple. I got to prove them to be not a liar. Because I'm not great. I'm not this. Cancel, cancel. I'm not this. I'm not cancel, cancel. I'm like, wait. Now the mind starts saying, okay, they said that they're not this. Okay, let's start putting that procrastination in full swing. Let me start giving them those outlooks that they're looking around their world and saying, my world just looks so small. My world is just so relegated just to this. So your own mind is working in alignment and in concert with your declarations and your belief system, your BS. Now, are you willing to change your BS the same way that we said that you can't be rocking out in an old operating system? Every single day, you have the ability to choose. Because as that middle box stated, what are you doing with that most important declaration each and every day? Are you speaking life? Or are you speaking something else? Any thoughts before I move on? And the church said, amen. The hidden cost of I am not thinking. Miss Johnson, can you read that first that mini paragraph?
I am not ready. I am not
Cancel,
qualified.
cancel,
I am not capable of scaling.
cancel.
Most leaders unknowingly operate from these declarations every day.
Come on. The reason why, for those of you who are live and hear this afterwards, the reason why I said cancel after each time she made that statement, because I know that's not, she's not affirming that. We're not affirming that in that space. We're just giving you the examples of those I am not statements. Because none of us here, especially in the comeback collective circle, are here to affirm anything that's I am not. So, yes, as she made the statement as a great example, I said the word cancel. The main reason why I said the word cancel because we don't affirm that stuff. That's the worst case scenario. To sit there and say, oh, we just get no, 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 whoa. The mind cannot take a joke. And if you're not willing to rewire yourself or work on the possibilities of being in those relevant conversations, interactions, sociality possibilities, wherever it is that allows you to be like, wait a minute, I gotta get out of that zone. That's why when Dr. Shaw was alluding to when I was getting my car service today, and I was interacting with these ladies, and it was just interesting to see, how certain things at certain levels move. Because it wasn't like I went in there dressed in a suit, but based upon the environment and based upon the lounge and based upon the area and based upon the type of vehicles that were being serviced, all of a sudden they recognized, like, oh, wait a minute, we can have some high value conversations. We can sit here and talk about, how I'm working with my company and we're doing X amount of millions of dollars a year. And, da, 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 da. And this woman's telling me about her businesses in Lake George and her family's this and this and the third, and her sister's sick and da, 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 da. We're going back and forth. But usually that would not be the norm. Because technically, based upon how you move in certain environments, and most of you who are entrepreneurs can probably see this or should allow yourself to experience that, is that at certain levels, it doesn't even become about black or white. And I go back to what a great man of God once said that at certain levels, you start to recognize it's really all about the green. And we're not saying that we're putting green above God, never. It's a tool. We recognize the tool. We recognize the power of the tool. That's why it's always good to go out there and bring some more pregnant money into your hands. You send that sucker back out to go back to work. But when you start to recognize, when you start moving in certain areas of sociality and start to really get out of those boxes and say, oh, I'm not just in this small box. I'm not just relegated to this. You start to understand, like, wait a minute, what are the type of declarations that we're speaking of on a daily basis? And could I be my worst enemy because of my inner me? So, as you can see, the hidden costs of the I am not thinking, you can see these four areas that can get impacted. Your thoughts, the repeated limiting self-talk. If you keep repeatedly calling yourself small, calling yourself only, calling yourself all these things that doesn't show expansion, that's exactly what you're going to get. The beliefs, encoded as operating truth. Now that's necessary because now we're talking about muscle memory. Now we're talking about your mind as a muscle is sitting there and says, okay, each time you keep saying these things that it's not about me agreeing with it or not agreeing with it. This is what you're saying about you. Okay. Your operating system is saying, okay, make sure that is across the board. Make sure every department knows about that. We are only cancel, cancel. Decisions, risk avoided, opportunity missed. Like this week, come Friday, there's gonna be a bunch of money hitting the market. Why? Because people are saying that, and it's a risk. You got some people saying is the valuation really bad, and some people saying maybe they may hit it on Friday, may wait till after settles and trades a couple of days based upon where it is. But someone on Friday could potentially be our first trillionaire. No, I have to take that back because I said that a couple of weeks ago, and I remember. I keep forgetting. Our first trillionaire was Mansa Musa. For those of you who need to do your research, you'll see that was the richest man alive. He was greater than Solomon. Mansa Musa. So he'll be the second one. Of course, they would have to be second behind one of us. But anyway, decisions, willing to take risk. They want to reach the stars. They wanted to get into technology, want to do those things that's allow for a manifestation to happen accordingly. And number four is the results. The business ceiling confirmed. All of our businesses, every single business started small. Apple and HP all started in garages. Bill Gates started in his parents' room, and not even that, started in his parents' room, and then when he got to Harvard, before he, decided to leave Harvard before graduating, and he started Microsoft really in his dorm room. So everything started small. And even though you may hear a lot of things about small is the new big, yeah, it is. Because if you maximize your possibilities and capabilities with the technological things that are available to you, yes, you can be a small enterprise doing big things. And if you're wise and you start getting big resources, you're not taking those resources just to keep for yourself. You're taking those resources to go reinvest. Go to number three, go willing to search out those different risks and possibilities. Like most of these social media platforms at one point were all risks. Oh, will people go on that particular social media? Will they go on that? Will they go on this? Some of these things now are worth hundreds of billions of dollars or even higher. And they were a one-time risk. Oh, will that really be in the marketplace? Someone took a risk and then reaped the reward. So most business ceilings are identity ceilings first, not market conditions. That's why they talk about all the time when there are times of contraction or possible recessionary or times when the economy is not doing good. Those are some of your greatest opportunities to figure out, okay, as I'm seeing how the things are flowing, what are my opportunities? What am I seeing as an opportunity? Or am I seeing always the sky is falling? If I find the opportunities, now all of a sudden, am I willing to do number three? Am I willing to risk some capital and make some investments that I'm not looking to pull out? I made an investment on Wednesday. I'm looking for my money on Friday. If that's the type of case, that's the reason why you don't have any legacy money. And that goes beyond person, male or female. If your identity keeps you that small, that you're not willing to say, wait a minute, I'm making this decision because this is probably a 3 to 5 year decision to say, I'm letting that thing rock. Why? Because if it does what it's supposed to do and all of a sudden if it gets some sort of market impact in the space and it just keeps growing and growing and growing, like Amazon was a risk. But Amazon has turned Bezos into someone who's worth hundreds of billions of dollars, even after the divorce. That was a risk. There's a famous picture of him sitting in that cubicle style small space as he was in Seattle, Washington, with like someone drew Amazon behind him, and they were just starting to sell books. Now the company is a multimedia, multi-international conglomerate, but it was a risk. Wasn't that once a small business? So when I talk about that, especially here with the members here of the Comeback Collective Circle, it's for us to recognize that are we truly looking with the right set of eyes? Let's not be caught up in what we just see physically. Like, okay, what are the possibilities out there? And if you're willing to look for those possibilities and willing to play the long game, not this fast money, not this quick money that, oh, I got it. Put my money in and it doubled, now I'm out. Now, what would happen if you let that money just keep rolling? Even if you took your investment out, okay, it say if it got 4 or 5 times and started growing, okay, you put $5,000 into something, said, you know what, and you see it like it started 400, 500%. Okay, let me take my $5,000 that I initially put in and put in something else and let the rest of that stuff that grew and quadrupled and whatever keep riding. And you turn around one day looking at, wait a minute, I got $1 million asset here from 5 grand. You didn't keep yourself in the small ceiling or the small space to say that that's right, take some profit and leave the principal. You let it keep riding. That's why they say some billionaires will never spend their money. That's why they create those foundations. Because number one, they're only living off the interest. And what do you think the principal is doing? The principal is still working. You think they're just sitting in some savings account, some checking account? No, they got their money working. That's how the wealthy and affluent stay the wealthy and affluent. The rich are just starting to get there, towards there. The wealthy and affluent, that's how they stay wealthy and affluent. We're going to move on to the next slide. Scarcity consciousness versus capacity consciousness. I'm going to read the scarcity consciousness and then I'm going to ask Ms. Johnson to read the capacity one. Scarcity consciousness. You focus on what is lacking. Let's stop that. Because now you're generating your conscious self to start to look at things as always things are lacking because that's what you focus upon. Everything is half empty. That stuff is no good. Keep your money in your mattress. Don't go in the stock market. Don't buy real estate. Don't invest in this and don't do that and don't do that. They told you. Scarcity mindset. Waits for permission to act. That's a scarcity. All the great things that happen, people took a risk. Were like, you know what? I can apologize later. I'm doing it. I'm not sitting there waiting for someone to give me permission to move, to be, to become, to expire, to be expansive. Nah, I made this decision. Now, I'm not saying that you just do that haphazardly because you're an island to yourself, but there's certain times like, wait a minute, and when I say wait for permission to act, sometimes when you're making certain risks, you can't just wait to say, okay, I'll wait someday until we've had the full conversation. Before you know, oh, that opportunity, you just missed that opportunity. Then you find out sometime later, like, yo, those people are doing well. I thought you heard about that. Yeah. So you doing well too. No, I didn't jump in. I was waiting. Okay. Avoids risk at all costs. That just already surmises itself. And assumes limitation is fixed. That means you put yourself in a box and you just sit there and says, oh, let's say that's why when I did this slide, that's why I put the scarcity consciousness in the box. You stay in the box. You said, that's all I can do. I'm fixed. I'm just there. I can't go any further. Lies. You're just scared and you keep using that old whatever it is to keep you in that box. Okay, Ms. Johnson, break us down with the capacity consciousness.
Capacity consciousness creates solutions from available resources, learns boldly through action, operates from resourcefulness and growth, assumes limitation is temporary. You want me to continue?
No. You got it. That's why the line was there. Thank you. So when you create solutions from available resources, I'm not sitting there telling you to go rob, steal, kill anyone, but there's no reason why, especially in this global economy, I don't care if it's $20 a week, you can be investing in something. There's too many apps out there. I'm not going to tell you what you choose. You find out what you do. You do your diligence. Here in the circle, we're about you being in application mode and some sort of action, regardless of whatever it is. And you learn boldly through those actions. Oh my God, that didn't really work over there. Or that investment didn't really grow that way. Good. Keep going. It's just like what happened to the Knicks last night at the top of the table. They lost the game. They still in the driving seat to finally still move towards a championship. Oh my God, we lost the game, so we got to throw everything out the window. Oh my God, that's scarcity. Oh, these are the things that I learned from some of the lessons because I'm willing to be out there and willing to take those risks. Oh, okay, I'm becoming a little bit much more refined. That only happens through practice and action, not inaction, because even inaction is a choice, which keeps you in scarcity. Operates from resourcefulness and growth, especially if small is the new big. You have to figure out how can you multiply. What are the things that can be your multipliers? That's your resourcefulness, which will ultimately lead to your growth. You don't sit there and says, "Oh, I'm only." No, you're not. Stop that. Cancel. Cancel. And assumes limitation is temporary. Of course it is. It is always temporary. It's a heartbeat. You're down. Oh my God, it's a down day in the market. Great. Next you know, you hear there's 2 or 3 days. You taking money out. Oh my God, I'm getting my money out because I'm scared because it was a red day in the market. You find out a week later, 2 weeks later, your money could have doubled if you'd just been patient. Like, what are we doing? No, you see, it was a day that my money went down. Okay. You don't think the wealthy and affluent experience down days? Like I think it was last week, Friday. That was a day when the market itself lost $2 trillion. And the funny thing about it is, at the time of this taping, they probably gained about half of that back in the past 2 trading sessions. So suppose that person on Friday was like, "Oh my God, the sky is falling. Get my money out." And all of a sudden, it's like, "Wait a minute, okay, you're starting to go back up. Oh, it went down and it's coming back up." So stop asking, "What do I lack?" Start asking, "Who must I become to create the result I desire?" See, we all have weaknesses. We all have areas that we may not necessarily be strong in, but that does not mean that we move and keep the focus on lack. Every single last person, including myself, who's teaching and sharing this conversation, we all have some aspect that we're not the best in, and that's okay. That makes up the human experience that you are experiencing in the world that you're creating. Now, what shows your wisdom is that, you know what? I'm not really great in that area. Either I'm going to source it out or I'm going to develop myself so I can eventually turn that thing that may be considered weak or not as strong into a strong aspect. Or if it's something that you decide not to, okay, let me source that out. Let me find someone who's strong in that. And you know what? I don't mind sourcing that, giving them a just wage based upon what we have agreed upon. And all of a sudden, they're helping me with my bottom line for the results that I desire to have. And I may not know an inkling of what they're doing over there. I just know that that area needs to be done because I'm weak in that. Or I may not have as much skill level or focus in that area. But now the wisdom kicks in. So now you're not moving in scarcity. You're actually moving in a greater capacity because now you're still expanding. It's like, wait a minute, oh no, I really can't do that. Yeah, but XYZ over there could do that. Wait, go get him. Go get her. Yeah, bring her, bring him. Yo, you saying that he can do this? Yo, they said that you can do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, I know. Okay. We can agree upon some sort of compensation. Yeah. Thank you. Go handle that. By them being over there, that helped your focus over here and your vision started growing, and all of a sudden things, your capacity is manifesting. We're building as a company. Wonderful. We didn't stay in scarcity. We didn't stay in a box. As we move on to the next slide. Rewrite the broadcast, your 7-day identity upgrade. Yes, this is what you can be working on the next 7 days in your life. Miss Johnson, can you read number one, please?
Observe. Notice every I am not statement. List five recurring ones you say to yourself.
And we all do it. But when you start to become mindful of it, now you're starting to impact your possibility of your choices. The impact and the possibility of your choices, it's not that saying that everything's going to happen in the snap of your fingers. But now with repetitive action, the same way when you were in school, the same way if you're working out, the same way if you're diligent with certain things in your life that you desire to grow, you're giving it the necessary attention. And when you start to recognize that, ooh, was that an I am not statement I said? Ooh, bad Greg, bad Greg. You start to recognize, well, this is good. I'm starting to see them, recognize them, and now we're going to start limiting them. And that limitation, those limitations are good because eventually we're going to start to remove them. Dr. Cheryl, can you read number two, please?
Trace, find the origin, a past failure, a criticism, a culture, or family narrative.
What would you say to that? Because I know you deal with that in your Speak Your Power Now group and your teachings and your private sessions and stuff like that. So why is trace so important?
Well, that's what I was saying in the very beginning. If you trace it back, but sometimes we don't notice that it is a trace back. So a lot of things that I think you're speaking about, a lot of us are unaware that this is even happening. So when you're looking at your life, um, the only way that you get to understand it and know it is that someone brings up the blind spots. So a lot of things that you're talking about may be blind spots in our lives, and a lot of us may not have choices. If it wasn't for you that came around to talk about that, I'm not sure if I would have ran into someone that can talk about my credit. I didn't even know credit was a major conversation because that wasn't a conversation in my home. And I think that once you are exposed to certain things, you trace it back to the origin of your money. Do you have money conversations? The origin of is it safe to share? The origin of what happens, it always goes back to tracing it back to the origin. It started from somewhere. Now you have to be able to transform it. And I'm complete.
Thank you. Number three, replace. Install a new declaration. I am a value creator. I am becoming a transformational leader. Whatever I am statement that regardless if it's your business, regardless if it's your personal life, regardless of things that you would like to create as a lifestyle, habitual actions, whatever it is, install a new declaration because it takes at least 21 to 30 days to establish a habit. So even though we're giving you these 7-day things, some of these things you got to keep working on. And it has to be part of the process because you keep scaffolding and building on whatever it is that you may have heard previously. And the reason why is that so important is that once you get to that 21 to 30 days, and now all of a sudden it becomes so, and when we get to number four, which is about the repeat, once it becomes repetitive, which you're strengthening a new identity through daily repetition and aligned, courageous action. Once you get to that space that now it becomes a lifestyle, now they talk about, I've been doing this for 50 days and been doing this for 90 days. Now all of a sudden I've been doing this for 4 months. And now it's, oh my God, I can't believe I've been doing this for 6 months. And now I'm saying, oh my God, I've done this for a year. My God, I'm going to my second year now. I'm going to my third year now. And when you start to see, like, wait a minute, this daily repetition now becomes so second nature. It's like, wait a minute, I'm no longer looking at myself small. I'm not playing myself by saying these things that could be my enemy, could be activating things within me that is not beneficial for me long term. I'm taking care of my body. I'm taking care of my mind. I'm taking care of my business. I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care. I'm taking care. I'm taking care. I'm taking care. That's the repeat process. And all this time, I didn't talk about going out there looking for dollars and cents. Because even before you get the dollars and cents, you got to get your common sense right. You got to get your identity right. You get your identity right. Now, once you start going out there to access, or if you have the resources in hand, or if you're looking to use OPM, other people's money, and go into those debt markets and willing to extend yourself to go get those loans and credit and things of that nature, you're getting those things because you're coming to get back to get assets, not for bill paying, not for sitting there saying, oh, I got to take care of this thing over here. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. These our money script is screwed up. We're accessing this credit because we're looking at a possibility and opportunity. And I go back to like Byron Allen. And we're not going to talk about him in depth right now, but you do your own personal research about Byron Allen and see how Byron Allen has been able to build his Allen media empire. And you start to recognize how powerful it is when you have a decent name, you're willing to bet on yourself, you're willing to go into those debt markets where now that means you're in partnership with some of these companies because they're willing to give you money so you can purchase an asset. And as you keep growing it and developing it and it's making money and you're paying back your debt, and all of a sudden that thing becomes higher in value. That means they're making money while you're making money. Like Elon Musk is not walking around with almost, a couple of $100 million in cash. The same with most individuals who are at that status of billion. They're not walking around talking about, yo, I got $2 billion in cash in my pocket. You gotta get that mentality and mindset out of the way, that scarcity mindset out of the way. No. They're recognizing they're leveraging their contacts, they're leveraging their network, they're leveraging the resources they do have in hand. Says, yo, you go back out there and go back to work. That's the reason why we can be in the type of trappings, the type of home, the type of experiences, the type of life that I am developing. This is the world I am developing. That's why in that green box, I made sure to purposely to keep it green. Your business grows when your identity grows. If your business stays small, it's because you're looking at it as small. Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
Yeah, I had one last share. Going back, I think the previous slides speaking about limitations and limiting languages, I went to a couple of my different AI models and looked up what exactly would be considered limiting words. And then I realized, no, the slide before this, I use so many words not realizing that they're limiting. Like always is absolute thinking. It kind of cuts you off in a way. Impossible, should, must, but, stuck, problem, failure, weak, bad. And there's like a plethora of other words that I'm using every day, not realizing that it's in fact limiting me. So as we do your 7-day exercise, it'll be a good idea to just sit down and think of how you speak or even record yourself speaking and listen to some of the words that you're using so it'll help you progress in improving your identity. I'm complete.
Thank you for that. And with that, we are complete. Open up the floor. Any thoughts that you desire to share? Anything that came up from you from I am or I am not? It's always your choice. I am or I am not. And choose every day to be in your respective I amness. Anything that I am not should be removed out of your vocabulary. Yes, Mr. Sams.
All right. Yeah, I just was really enjoying the conversation about the speech. It's very, we're hearing it a lot and we're hearing it more and more. And the more that you open up to it, sometimes we look for something external to manifest itself. But when it starts manifesting internally in a way where you say two people are seeing the same event, but one seeing it differently, that's how the eternal changes because now you're being presented with things that you're no longer looking at in the same way that you used to. And just that energy alone can shift things. And with Jason last night, there was a couple of times I thought he was going to hit someone and justifiably. but he kept his cool and he kept his game. So his whole way of being shifted my view of him. It shifted him not escalating things with other people around him. So when you are using the positive words and the positive speech, not only does it affect, like I said, sometimes we're exclusively looking for exterior manifestations when it can actually be manifesting from within. And then all of a sudden, our world and our view that we live in and that we're now creating a much different view and a different way of being. And then what's funny for me is when I hear it, it gets under my skin like a scratching board. I'm like, oh, I'm like, don't think like that. Don't even talk like that, you know. And so it's nice to grow. I'm complete, and thank you for all that you're doing.
No
I'm
problem,
complete.
no problem. Appreciate you being a part of the circle. Dr. Shaw, you have any thoughts? I know you probably got some thoughts running through that beautiful head of hers. Any thoughts? What's popping up? What's populating in Dr. Cheryl's head?
Well, for me, it's just about you just being aware. And these conversations just makes you aware where I am, where I desire to be, where far I've come. And then just say, what I will say, if you didn't understand something here tonight, please look it up, come back with questions, because it's important for you to expand your mind if you didn't understand. I think our community, a lot of us walk away not understanding something and we don't open our mouths. So that's the only thing I will leave you with. If you didn't know something, rewatch the video and you have to ask Dr. Clark some questions. He does go back inside and read every single comment. So go and go, he reads your comments. So please go, and he personally does it. I just want to say that. He may not have no time later on in life, but right now he has time to read your comments. So I would say put comments there after you read the video and say, I have a question about this, and do that, and he will answer you. And I'm complete.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And as always, you have a great time having these comeback conversations, and it's about stimulating our community. One thing I'm going to say is that you black or brown, you should be down with this circle, Comeback Collective Circle. So you can definitely visit CoachClarkDmin.com, get on the email list. Definitely, as Dr. Cheryl alluded to, I definitely am soliciting more feedback because I noticed that other communities are commenting and liking and loving some of the posts. And so I noticed, wait a minute, what's going on in my own Jerusalem? So if you my brothers and sisters out there, definitely become subscribers to this respective YouTube channel at Dr. Gregory Clarke Master Coach, or you type in Gregory Clarke D-Min Master Coach, I'll pop up as well. And the reason for that is that, we have to be in action. We have to be in application. See, every time you hear me talk about application, it's about us being in action. And it's not about you attempting to build a house in one day. No. But if you consistent and you allow yourself to put that tic tac in that whale's mouth, and before you know it, that whale is full of tic tacs, and you start to see, wait a minute, I can cash that check out now, because now those tic tacs are worth some good money, because after a while it kept growing and germinating and developing and compound interesting and all of the good stuff. Next you know, you have something that not only just for yourself, it's not just about just for yourself, but it's about building that relevant legacy that we all have the opportunity to do. That's why we're not affirming any more I am not statements, or I can't do this. And like certain people I mentor and stuff like that, Dr. Cheryl knows, like, you're not cursing around me. So I ain't saying no curse word. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You saw them I am nots, and I can, and and I love, as Miss John, as we start to bring this to a close, what Miss Johnson was saying about some of those words that we think are affirmative words, but they're making a declaration that may be considered limiting. You know, when you say, I must take care of this, like, must? Let's ask the purpose of why you're taking care of it. Now, we can explain that. And that's another great thing to do when you start to see that you're no longer moving in limiting consciousness. You start recognizing the purpose of things. You know, you don't just go out there and says, "Oh, I'm just gonna go out there and spend some money and get something to eat." Because look at what you're saying. I'm going out there to spend some money to get something to eat. Maybe you have that food in the house. You just amplified your dollars, and now all of a sudden, those resources that you was about to go outside, all of a sudden, may have went into an investment, may have went towards something, pooled with other resources towards something that can add more value to you. That's why we say all the time, not that we're going to tell you not to go out there and be a consumer, but if you start recognizing that there's certain things that you consume all the time, then find out how you can also be an investor of that. Find out the ETF of that. Find out the company stock of that. If they're publicly traded companies, like, oh, wait a minute, they're publicly traded. If you're willing to get that cup of coffee, why not? They're going to make money off of you. Why not make money off of them? That's not scarcity. That's recognizing if you want to circulate the dollars, don't stay as a consumer, which is not an owner. But start to build your legacy as an investor in those assets that you're having. And as for some of you, if you're taking the time to find out more about Byron Allen, you'll be surprised about his true story. If you do your research, maybe we may talk about that next week. I'll ask that question, what did you find out about Byron Allen? And, you start to recognize there's certain things that if you desire for certain, you got to learn this is a game, the game of life and the business of life. If you're not willing to play it, it means you're already saying that you're going to lose. So with that being said, I'm going to share with you the respective ways that you can support this platform. Amen. The Comeback Collective Circle. Let me get you out of the way. Thank you. Here are the different ways you can support. You can support by Cash App. We appreciate that because all the different ways that you invest in this platform is all about outreach. It's not even about making salary. Right now, it's all about developing and growing the community because this information needs to get out there. And if we're not willing to promote it or at least market it in some form or fashion, then it deserves not to be seen. But it is starting to be seen, but I need some of the right eyes that I desire to see it to start to see it. So you can do it via Cash App, $ Gregory Clarke D Min, or if you're choosing to do it via Venmo, Gregory Clarke D Min, so it's the same as Cash App, just drop the $. And of course, if you just choose to do it via Zelle or PayPal, same email address, esquire971@gmail.com. And once again, as always, we appreciate all of you who are part of the Comeback Collective Circle, who are here live, and those who are growing virtually. We appreciate you. We honor you. Keep applying yourself. Keep removing those I am not statements out of your life. Take the 7-day challenge. Keep building yourself up to make those lifestyles and habits work for you instead of having habits or maybe a potential lifestyle that is not beneficial for you. So once again, this is Dr. Gregory Clarke Sr., and I can't wait to see you next week for the next edition of the Comeback Conversations with Dr. Clarke. Have a great week and continue to be prosperous.
Good night and God bless.
Good night, everyone. Go Knicks.
Excellent.